Oh, because you had some people stalking me in the shelter. I know. And that lady had people stalking me. The lady that worked there had people watching me to see if I was making content. I know that too. I know that one girl that walked by and took a picture on her iPad.
Well, everybody, it looks like Big Toph has finally been banned from TikTok. Well, at least for 30 days at the very least, I'd imagine. TikTok normally doesn't have like long-standing bans. Nova Online has got past it before, and I'm pretty sure Tophiachu will as well. But before she got banned, it was entirely obvious why it occurred. It's because she has been crashing out harder than she ever has before. I mean, at least 90% of her live streams, if it isn't copyrighted material in general, which I could believe that could potentially be why it got banned. She just sits there and watches TV the entire time. So that itself is a possibility. But another thing that she's been doing is cussing out her entire live stream, just cursing at everybody. Anyone who tries to say something to her, she's just freaking out on them. And the craziest part is, it's over the most minute things. We haven't heard about the GoFundMe in the longest time. Well, that's because it got taken down a little bit ago, but that's besides the point. Things that would typically make Tophiachu crash out aren't even scratching the surface anymore. And this sudden shift in mood makes me think we're getting the Papachu saga really soon, guys. I mean, a lot of these allegations have piled up against Tophiachu over the years, and she normally remains calm during them. I mean, there's the huge crash out, the cry session that comes along with it, but for the most part, Tophiachu's just, whatever. Basically how she lives life. But right now, she's saying that people are spying on her in the facility, people are following her, taking pictures, completely forgetting that she's a social media figure. But it really makes me think that, hey, the Papachu stuff has finally creeped in. She's had a little bit too much going on, and Tophiachu might have lost it finally. But at the same time, it's Big Toph. She's always kind of been this way. Less angry, but still similar. But before we get into all of that, guys, Big Toph has had some recent drama unfold, and that was that she got exposed on a Zoom call here recently with people she probably shouldn't have been talking to. And just like I told you guys, this is a nothing burger. If, like, yes, it's very weird her sitting in a Zoom call for hours, but there's no real proof of anything, and Tophiachu could have just ignored this all. But she chose to crash out in the worst manner possible. You can see she's not feeling the best. She was about to end her live stream, but she had the urge to crash out so hard, she had to keep on going. So let's go ahead and get right into that.
If my kids are on a Zoom with someone for days and I have not seen them, it would ponder me to ask the question, well, what are you doing? You're just literally making it worse. You can't even lie, because see, there would be no way that a parent would let their minor on Zoom with someone for days. That just doesn't make sense. What am I gonna prove? Have someone show you their ID? No one's gonna show you their personal information. I'm not gonna go ask someone to go show you their personal information that I don't have contact with anymore for reasons. Like, that's so weird. Imagine. That's the only way that's gonna prove that. I gotta go get some sleep. Did you, like, okay, here's the thing about your logic, right? You said, oh, we know they're kids, so you went to go talk to them knowing they were minors, and you admitted it. Stop using me as an excuse, right? But I'm just saying they're not. But if we're going by your logic, anyways, there's no need to explain it. Like, common sense is like, who would allow their child to sit in a Zoom with someone for days and not ask, well, where's my child? Like, why haven't I seen them? Like, hello. Only grown adults do that because they have time. Adults don't have sleepovers. Yeah, they do. What are you talking about? Adults do. If I had a place to live, yes. That's why people have things called guest rooms. For a reason. Hello. That's what a guest room is. Especially girlfriends, like girls that are friends, have sleepovers. As adults. It's not a thing that's only for kids. I literally slept over at my friend's apartment. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we discussing this? I already said they're adults. Like, I'm not gonna argue with you if they're kids or not. You don't have any proof. You just have a screenshot of me being in a Zoom with a bunch of people and saying they're kids. You can't just call someone a kid. What proof do you have? You don't have any. Okay, what proof? If you have their personal information, then you're weird.
That first segment was Tophiachu logic at its finest. We got Tophiachu opening it up with like, okay, look guys, I know you guys got me caught up saying that I was on a Zoom call with tons of people for multiple hours in a day, but I've got one over on you guys right now. Only an adult could spend that much time on a Zoom call. Only adults do nothing all day because that's what they do. You know, they don't have a job. They don't have kids to take care of themselves. They don't have any of that going on for them. Well, I assume at least because that's how I live my life. But no, Tophiachu, if it's like the summertime or winter break or Thanksgiving, I promise you, any student anywhere out there has a whole lot more time on their hands than parents do. There's no month-long vacations when you're an adult. It's just every single week you do what you do. Maybe you get a new job along the line, but that's the typical adult life. So like you questioning it makes me think that maybe you was like, this could be a nothing burger. This is one of those things that Tophiachu blows out of proportion, but no, it's literally just her in a Zoom call, but the way she's reacting makes me think she's a little bit guilty of something. Well, and it's not even the way she's acting. She literally goes on to say, well, I mean, you guys could go and ask their parents, but that's really weird. I mean, why would you do that unless you're a creep? And then she realizes that she's implying that she was talking to those people, and she's like, wait, well, wait a second here. A matter of fact, it wouldn't be weird because they are adults now, but having people's information in general is creepy. And yeah, Toph, it is a little creepy to go searching like that. It sure is. But you know what's even creepier? You being in these weird Zoom calls for hours on end. You're a grown woman. Why are you on a Zoom call for hours? And to be honest with you guys, I'm not really sure when this Zoom call occurred, but if it occurred during the Chew Cruiser saga, that makes this 10 times worse. But I'm not going to speak on that because obviously I don't know. But another thing Tophiachu said, which just goes to show you how little Tophiachu processes normal everyday life, at least normal for the majority of the population, is her saying, yes, adults do have sleepovers. I would be having sleepovers with my girlfriend all the time. And Tophiachu, I think that's called a date, but she doesn't want to phrase it like that because you know the allegations that are going against her right now. She doesn't want people to speculate on that too much. But whatever her true meaning behind that is, I can for sure tell you that adults just don't do that. If I was to ever go to one of my friends' house and they started referring to it as a sleepover, I'm checking my calendar real quick. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right year all of a sudden. I didn't time travel at all. And then once I realize that, yes, I am sane, I am in the current time, I'm going to slowly back out of that room. Maybe run. That might be the scenario that I found myself in, but I'm getting out of there. Like, I don't want to be involved with that person anymore. Someone in their 20s saying they're having a sleepover with me, not happening. And also, I don't want that to be going around town. Like, I'm having sleepovers with other people. Not a good look.
Well, I don't know an adult that rides a bike by themselves or drives a car, or a kid. I mean, you can drive if you're young, but I don't know someone that goes to nursing school and has a grown boyfriend and was literally in their 30s. The Zoom meetings or whatever, the person that we supported on TikTok, he would literally be friendly to me or do something nice, right? And they didn't like that, and they would like be jealous. Like one time he thanked me for commenting on a video he asked us to comment on because he did a cover of a song. And I commented and he screenshot it and he told me thank you. And then he told them, to the rest of y'all, you're slacking. And I knew it. I said, oh bro, I said they're gonna say something to me. Sure enough, when he left, they started attacking me and started saying stuff, and I was like, all because he did that. Like, It was just him being nice and like towards me leaving the comment. So you're gonna bring up the virtual babysitting, then I think you should bring up virtual babysitting for Leslie. And I think you should bring up the virtual babysitting for other influencers, especially the ones that made videos about it on TikTok, which if you look them up, there's a lot of content creators that made videos about it because I was looking for a work from home job. I didn't watch anyone's kid online. This was during COVID. I still tried to get it because I was trying to make money to pay for a phone bill and work from home. I didn't get it because I was thinking like the way you think. You're the ones that think inappropriately. That's a you problem. That's not a me. I already knew it was going to be a big issue when she offered me to live in her trailer. I said no. I told my brother no because I already know the issues. What? So she could say we stole something, so she could start blaming me, so she could throw us out and tell us to get out? No, thank you. Like, all this stuff that she was doing behind my brother's back, I never told him because I knew it would have caused him to side with her. And he did, in a way, when we had that beef and then like I finally told him, he was like, well, you need to stop it and so does she. And I'm like, what do I need to stop? I'm not doing anything. She needs to leave me alone. Then he started seeing it was her. Like, okay, I don't need to leave nobody alone. I wasn't doing anything. She needs to leave me alone.
So Tophiachu, you've never seen a teenager drive? Not one. You've never seen anyone younger than that riding a bike? That's when you think of a bicycle, it's typically a younger person riding that bicycle or a very angry person going down the middle of the road, one or the other. Not many other options. And like plenty of 15 and 16-year-olds drive. It's very common. It's one thing in this world that you kind of look forward to. You're like, okay, at this point in time, I can drive. I've made jokes about Tophiachu living in the Chilla before, but we got some more Tophiachu Mass Effect stuff going on, because what does she think she is? An Asari or something? Has this massive lifespan, and I'm not trying to discredit the Asari's amazing in Mass Effect. I'm just trying to drive a point home. It's like, when does she think you can get your license? At 40? She's just thinking that Brother Chu has been driving around illegally this entire time. She's like, man, on my 40th birthday, I can't wait till I can get my license and finally start driving a car. It takes a while, but all that time you have to wait makes you really wise to the situation. She's probably thinking you can't become a homeowner until you're like 60 years old. Maybe this age thing with Tophiachu is why she refuses to get a job. I mean, she always tells us there's this mysterious reason that she can't work right now. Maybe it's that. She's like, guys don't even know. I'm too young to work. I gotta be at least 45 before I'm even close enough. Right now, all I can do is babysit. And I can't even really babysit. I gotta virtually babysit. And to be honest with you, this was back in COVID when she was thinking of virtually babysitting. But how are you gonna open it up, Tophiachu? Like, listen, the only thing that held me back from getting that job is thinking about it inappropriately like you guys did. You guys are the monsters in this situation, not me. It's like, whoa, Tophiachu, you're the one talking about thinking weird about virtually babysitting. Like, it's the easiest job in the world. A matter of fact, it's not even a job. You literally sit there and talk to a kid online because their parents don't want to deal with them during COVID. They're locked in the same house, they're in the same vicinity, but you have to sit there and talk to a stranger so you don't bug me. It sounds like the craziest job in the world. And you know this is a bad job, and it probably wasn't legit, probably a huge scam. And anyone who signed up for this, shame on you. I'm not talking about the people, well, maybe the people who signed up for the job and the parents who signed their kids up. This just seems like a terrible thing all around. But even worse for the parents, because who knows who you're leaving your kid with over the internet. At least when it's like an actual babysitting job, you get to meet the person, there's some resumes, a background, maybe the the parents, you're like, okay, I'm gonna give this person a shot. They've been good their entire life. This should work out for me, right? But no, you're doing it virtually, and some of the people that they're considering hiring is Tophiachu and Leslie. Like, no way. There's not a chance in the world that I would want my child talking to either of those people for any amount of time. I don't want them absorbing it. I don't want them thinking about what they've got going on in their life. I guess at least with Tophiachu, they could talk about Disney Channel all day, but that's about it. That's as far as her knowledge reaches with those kind of subjects. Besides that, she's got to be lost. She would lose that job faster than the Dunkin' Donuts one. I mean, I wouldn't even think she would show up, and that's crazy because, you know, she just has to open a laptop or a phone.
I can't go see her. I'm on a 30-day suspension. Do you know what a 30-day suspension is? You literally cannot step foot on property. And I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed back. So when you get suspended from somewhere, you cannot go over there. Like, did I not explain this to you? They were going to dump me under a bridge because I'm on a 30-day suspension. My mom cannot get on the bus to get over here because she has to get on the bus with her walker. It is a hassle if I'm not there to help her get on the bus. Well, I got to figure out where I need to go because it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning and I don't got anywhere to go. Thankfully, I had the money for social media. You know, if it wasn't for social media, I would have been under the bridge. So I just paid for a room with money that I could have saved, but, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. They tried to say some lies. I didn't tell anyone to call the cops, and I didn't even tell anyone where I was at. So why would you even dox me in the first place? You're blaming me for something I didn't even do because I wasn't even allowed to film or post content. Why do you think I left the property and went live elsewhere? That's why I left every single day, so I can go live and I can make content. I never made content on their property. For you to blame me for something you did is weird. All I did was went to go to sleep, and I was forced to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning because they wouldn't let me sleep. And then some lady, she went to ask, and they were like, oh, well, you can go to the back. And she's like, oh, they said we can go back. And I was like, okay. So I go to the back. She's like, no, they still have to talk to you. Go sit down. You had me sitting down till 1, almost 2 o'clock. You didn't even have me like try to at least contact family member. You waited until 1 a.m. in the morning to tell me because this dumb does not like me. Excuse my language. That lady at the shelter does not like me. She's the one who runs the shelter. I'm not even going to tell you the lawsuit that's against her. And as a matter of fact, I think she got fired. She got fired. I went back home to go to bed. I ate dinner. I said, well, can I at least have dinner? They gave me a dinner. Then the lady was like, you could go back there. I'm like, okay. And they're like, no, you sit there. So they had me sit there. Mind you, they were going to have this elderly lady sit in a chair. And she told them, well, I can't sit in the chair, because of issues that she has, her disability. She has issues. She's old. She can't sit in the chair. Because they were saying that she was being disruptive because someone started with her. Oh, because you had some people stalking me in the shelter. I know. And that lady had people stalking me. The lady that worked there had people watching me to see if I was making content. I know that too. I know that one girl that walked by and took a picture on her iPad. I couldn't even say anything because I was like, you know what? I can't even say anything because if I say something, then it's always my fault. So I'm just going to have to let her take a picture of me, even though she's not supposed to be taking pictures in the shelter in the first place, because there are other people that are sleeping behind me, and some people opted to not be on photo or video.
So Tophiachu finally reveals what happened to get her kicked out of the shelter, and it all makes total sense. We all had a bunch of theories. Well, there wasn't too many theories. There were 4 or 5 ones running around, but it turns out if you just combine 2 of them, you would be exactly right. It was because of the Advil situation and Tophiachu getting a lot of hassle from it, a bunch of calls getting made towards the shelter, and the shelter already was aware of Big Toe because, well, they had received calls in the past. She had went live there. And don't let her fool you. If you don't know or you don't remember, Tophiachu went live there a lot. There's tons of clips of Mama Chu coughing in the background, TV playing in the background all the time. Like, that was before this era, the TV era. It happened beforehand. It was actually a little bit different. It was the music era at that time. But back to my main point. So the Advil situation occurs, and the people have just had enough of her. They're like, okay, we're combining this. We're saying that you're doxing people. You're giving away information. So we got to kick you out of here. We're giving you a 30-day suspension. I'm sorry we couldn't tell you sooner, but you decided to stay out the entire day. You just get back at 11, so we're going to have to talk to you at a later time. Of course, that's what's going on with Tophiachu. And yes, it's sad that there's an elderly person there, Big Toph, but apparently she's starting problems. If I'm running a shelter, one of the last things that I want is a huge altercation happening. I do not want that in the slightest. And to be honest with you, I don't know if your account of the events could be correct. I mean, who knows, Big Toph, because I'm not even saying that you're lying. It sounds like you're kind of losing it a little bit towards the end there. You're telling everyone that people are walking around taking pictures of you and that there are spies spying on you. No, you're a notable figure and people just might know about you. Or at the very least, you might just be infamous in that facility and people just don't like you very much. They're tired of you always going live. They can't say stuff. They're like, oh man, I might get in trouble. I might accidentally reveal some information, and this girl apparently is infamous. I seriously doubt you don't talk about how infamous you are to all of these people. They probably don't want involved. And there was that one time in this most recent shelter, the one that you're in, where a woman accidentally gave away all of her information on your live stream and you couldn't care less. That's why you still need to go out. And not even 2 weeks later, you go on to say there shouldn't be any video recordings, no photographs inside of a shelter while you're live streaming in one. You can't make this up.
So I don't know why. Like, and then there was this lady that stood at the end of my bed and stared at me. She would stare at me. This girl would stand at the edge of my bed and would stare at me, just like stare at me and stare at people. And then one time, she would just stare at everyone. She just stared. And so basically what happened is that one time she stared at, she refused. She went to go lay in her old bed because they told her she couldn't lay in her old bed. There was someone there. But she got mad, threw a tantrum, and started screaming to herself. She started making noises. And then she started making noises. And then when she started making noises, she wouldn't stop. And they told her to stop, and she got worse. I didn't get thrown out because I refused the psych evaluation. That's not what was told to me. They said I needed to get evaluated, but they also said I needed to talk to the supervisor because that still would not, they said that still is not enough for me to stay there. They said even with evaluation, I still could possibly be suspended. So there's no point to get an evaluation. They didn't tell me I can only get an evaluation to stay there. They said I would have had to wait to talk to a supervisor as well, on top of the evaluation, and the supervisor would have denied me to stay there, and I still would have been suspended. There's a lot of issues with jobs and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure people have said, oh, I'm at work, and then they're not at work, But the last shuttle is at 8. And yes, I could work an earlier shift, right? But it's a hassle to get on the shuttle to get from there to a job and then make it back on time. And it's not even making it back on time. It's the fact that the way it's set up, the way they have it set up, it's not, the way their rules are set up and everything is set up, you cannot have a job. If you wasn't staying there, you can look for work. And I didn't have anywhere else to go, so. Because buses are free, city buses, but to get a bus from, like, Roswell to Albuquerque, yeah, I can't. It's not feasible, and I already have a place anyway, so. I mean, until I get a place. But what I'm saying is like, that doesn't work for me because how am I going to get into town? My mom's family, especially her brother, can't go all the way to pick me up because he can't get off of work. He works. Well, I can't travel because my mom is not going to move, and I cannot force her to move somewhere she doesn't want to because literally I could have went to California. I had the opportunity to live in California. Someone gave me an opportunity to live at one of his properties because I was not getting housing. But for me, I can't say F it. Okay, I could leave and leave my mom behind and then abandon her, and I'm not going to do that. I can't force her to move somewhere she doesn't want to move.
So in the past, I've said, Tophiachu, you definitely should be making content right now because the situation that you're in is something that not a lot of people are going through, especially when you have like a large following such as yourself. So you could literally put that on camera and make some mildly interesting videos and earn you some more revenue that way. But you absolutely refuse to. And this situation that you start telling is a clear example of why. Could you guys like imagine a TikTok that it would definitely go viral? It starts off, my creepy bunkmate in my shelter. She stares at me while I'm sleeping, and you show a video of her freaking out doing something, and it would go viral almost instantly. People would be like, oh my goodness, and it might even raise some of those sympathy points. And it sounds like there's plenty of other characters in there that you could have done this to. And I know that's against the shelter rules, but it's not like Tophiachu cared about that in the first place. She got kicked out of there for a reason. She should have got her stuff going while she could, but now she's missed that opportunity. But in all seriousness, guys, like, wouldn't you want to get out of that situation super fast? Like, if that's what's happening to you, that's some nightmare stuff. That's some crap you see in some dreams. You don't want to experience that in real life, and if you do, you need to get out of the situation that you're in. You don't say, oh, the morning shuttle was just far too early for me. Why would I go out and get a job when that morning shuttle was just so darn early? Don't you know the best Disney Channel movies come on at 2 in the morning? And it's just yet another excuse of why Tophiachu can't work, compounded on the countless other excuses she has listed already.
Social media isn't reliable either, but neither is a job. So don't try to lie, because nothing is reliable. Nor jobs nor social media is not reliable. Roommates are not reliable. No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't even have to do nothing to get fired. If they want to lay you off because they want to say, oh, well, it's too expensive to keep you. I'm not going to work for pennies. I'm sorry. You must think I'm stupid. Servers do not get paid. They get paid by tips. If you do not tip people when you go eat and sit down at a restaurant, then don't go. I was a really good employee. I didn't do nothing to nobody. I didn't talk back. I didn't say anything to anyone. I did what I was supposed to do. I made sandwiches the way I was supposed to make them. Someone might have got one cold egg. That was one of the complaints. She was saying that she kept getting complaints that I was burning the sandwiches. No, I was not burning the sandwiches, because why would I keep burning sandwiches and giving them to people? That's stupid. If I burn something, I'm going to throw it and hurry up and start over, because you have to get sandwiches out in 3 minutes or less. To literally sit here and lie is utter and complete bullshit, considering the fact the sandwiches that I was giving out to customers were not burnt. I think she was mad that I was getting more tips than other employees, and she couldn't have that, because if I was getting more tips than other employees, then she would have literally had to, and how is she going to explain to her employees that another employee is receiving more tips? Like, that's what I really think. Like, literally, why should I have to split my tips with someone that didn't even earn it?
And now we get to finish off with Tophiachu giving us a little more information on how her Dunkin' Donuts job went. And of course people were complaining, but Tophiachu can only ever remember giving one cold egg, one of the worst potential things you could give someone cold in the food industry. You definitely don't want to give someone salmonella of all potential things, but no, that's not that big of a deal. The real problem was all those pesky tips that Tophiachu was getting. She was the highest tip person there apparently, and everyone else was jealous. They were just sitting around saying, dang, how does Big Toph get so many of those tips? She's just so good with those people. I wish I could be up on that level. And Toph, I've worked in a job where tips were combined in that manner, and I promise you, when one of my coworkers got a high tip, I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person right there. That should have been my huge tip. No, they're combined. I get it too. I'm like, oh heck yeah, that person got a huge tip. It works out for everybody. That's why those are in place, so nobody can complain about who gets tipped and who doesn't. And typically if those arguments start happening, they'll just remove the tip system in general. So just be happy that you got them. You definitely had some bigger reasons why you got fired from that job. Oh, and I just gotta say this. She was complaining about waitresses, and when I was like in my early 20s, 19, like waitresses were always balling. They were always having a great time. If they worked in a decent restaurant, at least they were getting tons of tips. None of them were complaining. Now, I mean, as you get a little older, it might not be enough, especially since most of them do get like a slashed wage. It's normally like 2 something where I'm at, what the waitresses get, but typically they're not complaining too much. But back to the subject at hand that we was talking about, like Tophiachu, the person saying that you got a ton of complaints, I would imagine was trying to let you down easy. You probably wasn't very good at the job, and she was trying to come up with some kind of excuse to get you out of the door. I've seen this happen a couple of times, where a hiring manager hires somebody, maybe they performed well in the interview, maybe the manager was like super stressed that day, they needed someone right away, and for some reason they just said yes to you. And now they're regretting their decision, and they've got to come up with some way to get you out of those doors. And when you get just a little bit of complaints and you're disliked, the manager wants you out of there, well, guess what? You're on the chopping block. Sometimes it doesn't seem fair, but I mean, sometimes you're not cut out for the job, and you got to learn from those experiences if that happens to you. But I don't think that's something Tophiachu will ever do, learn from a situation. Anyhow, guys, I guess that's enough for me today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow all the socials down below, use the new hype feature, comment as well, and I'll catch you guys next time.